You know what the worst part about being a military strategist for the Velkran Dominion is? It is not the long hours, or the terrible cafeteria food that tastes like recycled boot leather, or even the fact that my superior officer has the personality of a malfunctioning waste disposal unit. No, the worst part is when you spend 6 cycles planning what should be the easiest invasion in galactic history, only to have physics itself turn around and slap you in your 3 faces. My name is Crix, and I am about to tell you the story of the biggest military embarrassment since the Battle of Chronos 7, where our entire fleet got defeated by a species that had not even invented the wheel yet. But that is a story for another time. This one is worse. So much worse. It started 3 lunar cycles ago when High Commander Velio, bless his overinflated ego, decided that the planet Earth would make an excellent addition to our growing empire. The briefing room was packed that day, officers from every branch of the military, scientists with their data pads, and me sitting in the back row already feeling a migraine coming on. "Gentlemen, ladies and non-binary configurations," Rel announced, his voice booming through the speakers like he was narrating an epic poem instead of a military briefing. "We have found our next target, a primitive world called Earth, located in the outer spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. Population, approximately 8 billion sentient beings. Technological level, laughably primitive. They have not even achieved faster than light travel yet." Everyone in the room started murmuring excitedly. "A primitive world. This would be easy. We could probably conquer it before lunch," Raoul continued, projecting holographic images of Earth in the center of the room. Blue oceans, green land masses, white clouds. It looked peaceful, pretty, even. According to our scouts, these creatures call themselves humans. They are carbon-based life forms, similar to the Grenti but without the natural armor plating or venomous fangs. They are soft, squishy, and apparently very fond of something called cats. "What are cats?" someone asked. "Small, furry predators that the humans keep as companions," Rill said, looking at his notes with visible confusion. "Intelligence reports indicate humans willingly let these creatures into their homes and allow them to rule over their lives. Fascinating. And concerning. I should have known right then that something was off. Any species that voluntarily submits to tiny predators is either incredibly stupid or knows something we do not. But did anyone listen to me when I raised this concern? Of course not. Crix, you worry too much," Vrel said, waving one of his appendages dismissively. "They are primitives. This will be a standard invasion. 6 battle cruisers, 12 landing ships, 5,000 ground troops. We will have them surrendering before dinner time." "Sir, I really think we should study them more carefully first," I insisted. "We know nothing about their biology, their combat capabilities, We know everything we need to know," Rel interrupted, his voice taking on that dangerous edge that meant he was done listening to reasonable suggestions. "They have primitive projectile weapons, combustion-based vehicles, and their most advanced aircraft still require physical pilots. Meanwhile, we have plasma cannons, energy shields, and automated combat drones. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, where do I even start?" The planning phase took 2 weeks. Our intelligence division compiled everything they could find about Earth from the scout reports. The humans had recently discovered our probe when it got too close to their moon, which they called Luna. Apparently, they thought it was some kind of weather satellite malfunction. Adorable. We learned that humans were bipedal like us, but much shorter. Average height was around 1.7 meters compared to our 2.5 meters. They had only 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and shockingly, only 1 head. 1 head? How did they process information with such limited neural capacity? "They are weak," announced Lieutenant Kraz, our xenobiology specialist, during one of the planning meetings. "Their bones are calcium-based and relatively fragile. Their muscles are made of simple protein strands. They require oxygen to breathe, water to survive, and something called sleep for approximately 1/3 of their daily cycle. During this sleep phase, they are completely unconscious and vulnerable." "Unconscious?" Captain Mira asked, her mandibles clicking with amusement. "For 8 hours every day?" "Correct. They literally shut down their consciousness and lie motionless for hours at a time. Sometimes they even enter a state called dreaming, where their brains create false realities that they believe are real. The entire room erupted in laughter. These humans sounded like the galaxy's biggest jokes. I was not laughing. Something felt wrong. I pulled up the data on my personal console and started reading through the scout reports more carefully. There were inconsistencies. Strange things that did not make sense. For example, humans had something called sports, competitive physical activities where they would run, jump, throw objects, or hit each other for entertainment. The reports mentioned humans running for something called marathons, which were races covering over 42 kilometers, for fun. They did this for fun. Our soldiers could barely run 5 kilometers before needing rest. I flagged this information and sent it to Vral. His response came back within minutes. Irrelevant. Proceed with invasion planning. Fine. I tried. The day of the invasion arrived with much fanfare. Our fleet assembled at the rally point just beyond Earth's solar system. 6 massive battle cruisers, each one carrying enough firepower to level a continent. 12 landing ships filled with our finest troops, all equipped with the latest in combat technology, energy rifles, personal shields, combat armor that could withstand small explosions. We were ready. Vivilla gave a rousing speech about honor and glory and expanding the Dominion's reach. Everyone cheered. I checked my equipment for the 15th time and tried to ignore the knot forming in my digestive tract. First wave will target a major population center, Rel announced, pointing at the holographic display. This city, New York. 7 million humans concentrated in a relatively small area. We take the city. We take their morale. Simple. We entered Earth's solar system at maximum speed. Their primitive detection systems picked us up immediately. Good. We wanted them afraid. Within hours, we were approaching Earth itself, a blue and white marble hanging in the darkness of space. It is beautiful, Mira whispered, staring at the planet through the viewport. It is ours, Vrella corrected. The landing ships detached from the battle cruisers and began their descent. I was on landing ship 7, along with 400 other troops. As we entered Earth's atmosphere, the ship started shaking. Normal atmospheric entry turbulence. Nothing to worry about. Then the pilot's voice came over the intercom, and he did not sound calm. Command? We are experiencing stronger than expected gravitational pull. Compensating. Gravitational pull. I pulled up the planetary data on my console. Earth's gravity was listed as 9.8 meters per second squared. That was actually quite close to our homeworld's gravity of 9.2 meters per second squared. Should not be a problem. Should not be. We landed in a large park area near the center of New York City. The landing ship's ramp descended with a hydraulic hiss, and we got our first real look at Earth. Trees, grass, strange metal towers reaching toward the sky, and lots of humans standing around with their primitive recording devices, filming us. Attention, humans, Rel's voice boomed from the speakers on our ship. You are now subjects of the Velcrin Dominion. Surrender peacefully, and you will be treated fairly. Resist and face the consequences. The humans just kept filming. Some of them were smiling. Smiling. Did they not understand they were being invaded? Deploy troops. Rel ordered. I was in the first squad to exit the ship. As my boots hit the ground, I felt it immediately. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The gravity. It was heavy. So heavy. Like someone had strapped weights to every part of my body. I took a step forward and nearly fell. My legs felt like they were made of stone. Around me, other soldiers were having the same problem. Lieutenant Kraz stumbled and crashed face first into the grass. Captain Mira was on her hands and knees, gasping for air. What is happening? Someone wheezed over the gravity, I managed to say, fighting to stay upright. The readings were wrong. This is much stronger than we thought. Impossible. Brella's voice crackled through the speaker. Our instruments are perfectly calibrated. You are just experiencing the natural adjustment period. Push through it, soldier. Push through it? I could barely stand. I looked at my fellow troops, and they were all in similar states. Our powerful, advanced military force, brought to its knees by simple gravity. And the humans? They were just standing there watching us struggle, recording everything. Some of them had started laughing. One human, a male wearing what I would later learn was called a tracksuit, walked right up to us. He was old, probably in his 60s, with gray hair and a slight belly. He looked at Captain Mira. who was still on the ground struggling to get up, and said something in their language. Our translators kicked in a moment later. "You guys need help or something." The absolute audacity. Here we were, an advanced alien military force, and this elderly human was asking if we needed help. The humiliation was unbearable. "Stay back, human." Mira managed to growl, "We are perfectly fine." "You sure?" the human asked, sounding genuinely concerned now. "You look like you are having trouble there. First time on a high-gravity world?" "High gravity? High gravity? Earth was supposed to be a standard density planet, not a gravity well." I forced myself to stand upright, using every ounce of strength I had. My legs were shaking. My 3 hearts were pounding so hard I thought they might burst. "Our intel was accurate," I gasped out. "This planet's gravity is only 9.8 meters per second squared." "Yeah," the human interrupted. "That is about 1 g standard Earth gravity. Why, what is it on your planet?" 9.2. "Oh," the human paused. "Oh, I see the problem. You guys did not account for the difference in your own physiology, did you?" What was he talking about? 0.6 difference in gravitational force should not matter this much. The human squatted down, getting to eye level with Mira. He moved easily, like gravity was not even affecting him. "Let me guess. You guys are what, 2.5 meters tall, probably weigh around 80–90 kilos on your home world?" How did he know that? "Your bodies are adapted for 9.2 meters per second squared, pulling on a frame that is much taller than ours. When you come to Earth, that same gravity is now pulling harder on a body that has more mass distributed over a greater height. The square cube law, buddy. Your volume increased faster than your strength could compensate for. On Earth, you probably weigh closer to 100 kilos, maybe more." I stared at this human, this old, soft, supposedly primitive human, who had just explained advanced physics to us like we were children. "Thus," he continued, standing back up with ease, "you guys are built like birds. Lightweight frames, hollow bones maybe. Great for agility on a lighter world, terrible for heavy gravity. Meanwhile, we humans, we are built like tanks. Dense bones, thick muscles, compact frames. Evolution, baby, we are made for this." Behind him, more humans were gathering. Hundreds of them. They were not running away or screaming or doing any of the things prey species were supposed to do when faced with an invasion. They were watching, waiting. Some were even eating something called popcorn. "Retreat," I shouted into my comm. "Everyone back to the ship. Now." "Negative." Rello's voice came back. "Stand your ground. This is just a temporary adjustment period." Temporary? I had been on the ground for 5 minutes and could barely breathe. How was this temporary? More troops were pouring out of the landing ship, and they were all experiencing the same thing. Our mighty invasion force was reduced to struggling, gasping, collapsing piles of defeated aliens within seconds of touching the ground. And then the human military showed up. They arrived in vehicles, large armored trucks that moved on rubber wheels. Actual wheels, touching the actual ground. How primitive could you get? But they moved fast, so fast. They surrounded our position within minutes. Human soldiers emerged from the vehicles. They were wearing combat gear, carrying rifles, moving in coordinated formations. But what struck me most was how easily they moved. Like the gravity was not affecting them at all. Because it was not. This was their gravity. They were born in it, molded by it. We were not. One human soldier, a female with short dark hair and sharp eyes, approached our position. She was not even breathing hard. She looked at the pile of struggling Velocrin troops and shook her head. "Well, this is disappointing," she said. "We were expecting more of a fight. You guys okay? We demand your surrender." Captain Mira wheezed. The human soldier blinked. Then she started laughing. Not a cruel laugh, but genuine amusement. "You are demanding our surrender. Buddy, you can barely stand up. How exactly are you planning to enforce that?" She had a point. More humans were arriving now. Not soldiers. Regular civilians. They had cameras, recording equipment, and were setting up a perimeter to get better angles of our humiliation. I could see it now, our defeat being broadcast across their entire planet, maybe their entire internet. Whatever that was, "This is going on YouTube for sure," I heard one human say. "Forget YouTube. This is going straight to the military archives." Another replied, "They are going to study this for years. How not to invade Earth. Lesson 1. Account for gravity." I wanted to die. Actually die. Just dissolve into the ground and never exist again. Rose's voice came over the comm again. "All troops, tactical retreat to landing ships. We are pulling back to orbit. This invasion is postponed." Postponed, like we were going to try again later. Like this was just a minor setback and not a complete disaster. Getting back to the landing ship was the hardest thing I have ever done. Every step felt like I was carrying a mountain. My legs were screaming. My backs were screaming. Parts of my body I did not even know existed were screaming. The humans helped us. Can you believe that? They actually helped us get back to our ship. The elderly human in the tracksuit, whose name I later learned was Marcus, actually supported Lieutenant Kraz as he stumbled up the ramp. The human soldier, who introduced herself as Lieutenant Hayes, organized her troops to assist our wounded. "Careful with that one," Hayes called out to her soldiers. "He looks like he is about to pass out." "I am fine," Kraz protested weakly, but he was not fine. None of us were fine. As I finally made it to the top of the ramp, I turned back to look at the humans one more time. They were all just standing there, watching, waiting, not attacking, not gloating, just. Marcus gave me a small wave. "Better luck next time, buddy. Maybe try a low-gravity world instead. I hear Mars is nice this time of year." The ramp closed, the ship lifted off, and as we ascended back into space, I could hear Vrala screaming over the command channel about recalibrating our instruments and analyzing our mistakes and preparing for a second attempt. A second attempt. Sure, because the first one went so well. I collapsed into a seat in the troop bay and looked around at my fellow soldiers. Everyone looked defeated, exhausted, humiliated. We had lasted less than 30 minutes on Earth. Less than 30 minutes before gravity itself defeated us. "Cricus," Mira said quietly, strapping herself into the seat next to mine. "You tried to warn us." "Yeah, I did." "We should have listened." "Yeah, you should have." We sat in silence as the ship completed its ascent. Below us, Earth continued to spin, blue and beautiful and completely unconquered. Above us, the battle cruisers were already preparing to jump back to hyperspace. The invasion was over before it had even begun, but something told me this was not the end of the story. Not by a long shot. Because if there was one thing I had learned about humans in our brief encounter, it was this: they were not what we expected. Not even close. And if their gravity could defeat us this easily,
I did not want to think about what else they were capable of.
The flight back to our staging area was the longest 6 hours of my life. Not because of the distance, but because I had to listen to Vrala try to spin our catastrophic failure into some kind of learning experience. Strategic reconnaissance, he called it. A test run, a preliminary assessment of enemy territory. I called it what it was, getting our tails handed to us by physics. "We simply need to adjust our approach," Vrel announced during the emergency strategy meeting aboard the flagship. Every officer who had survived the landing, which was all of us because the humans had literally helped us retreat, was present. The gravity issue was unexpected, but not insurmountable. "We are the Velkrin Dominion. We have conquered 47 worlds. We will not be defeated by a minor environmental inconvenience." Minor environmental inconvenience. That is what he called it. I watched Captain Mira shift uncomfortably in her seat. She was still recovering from the ground operation. We all were. The medical bay was full of soldiers with strained muscles, damaged joints, and crushed pride. "Sir, with all due respect," I began, knowing full well this would go nowhere. "Maybe we should reconsider this entire operation. The humans are clearly more capable than we anticipated. Their planet's gravity alone makes invasion impossible with our current physiology. Perhaps we should simply avoid Earth altogether and find softer targets." The room went silent. Every eye turned toward me. Vrela's face cycled through several colors, which in our species indicated extreme anger mixed with disbelief. "Avoid Earth?" he repeated slowly, dangerously. "Strategist Crix, are you suggesting we run away? That we admit defeat to a species that has not even left their own solar system? That they let them laugh at us across the galaxy?" "They are already laughing at us, sir," I pointed out. Our landing was broadcast on something called social media. According to our intelligence team, the video has been viewed over 500 million times in the past 12 hours. They have turned us into what they call memes. What are memes? Someone asked. Cultural units of humorous content, our communications officer Drix explained miserably. The humans create and share them rapidly across their digital networks. Current popular memes about us include titled variations such as Alien Invasion Speedrun World Record. They forgot about gravity and when you skip leg day at the gym for 3,000 years. The room erupted in groans. Enough. Grell slammed his appendage on the table. We will not be humiliated by these primitives. I have already devised a new strategy, one that accounts for the gravity problem, one that will ensure our victory. Oh no, I knew that tone. That was his. I have a brilliant idea, but it is actually terrible tone. We will use exoskeleton suits, Grell announced proudly. Powered armor that will compensate for the increased gravitational force. Our engineers assure me they can have prototypes ready within 2 days. We will return to Earth, properly equipped this time, and complete our mission. I wanted to argue. I wanted to point out the 100 different ways this could go wrong. But I was tired, my body's hurt, and honestly, at this point I just wanted to see how much worse this could possibly get. Spoiler alert, it got worse. The exoskeleton suits arrived ahead of schedule. Our engineering division had pulled off a minor miracle, designing and fabricating 200 powered armor units in less than 48 hours. They were bulky, covered in mechanical joints and servo motors, and made us look like we had been assembled from spare parts. But they worked. In testing, soldiers wearing the suits could move normally, even under increased gravitational load. See? Will said during the demonstration. Problem solved. The humans may have their gravity, but we have our technology. Superior Velcular engineering will triumph. We launched the second invasion attempt 3 days after the first. This time we chose a different landing site, somewhere less populated. Somewhere we could establish a foothold without the entire human internet watching and making memes. We chose a location called Wyoming. According to our data, Wyoming has one of the lowest population densities in the human nation called the United States. Drix explained, highlighting the area on our tactical display, only 500,000 humans spread across 250,000 square kilometers, mostly rural areas, farmland, mountains. Perfect for establishing a base of operations. What Drix failed to mention, because our intelligence team was apparently staffed by complete idiots, was that Wyoming was also home to something called Yellowstone National Park. And within that park was something called a supervolcano. But I am getting ahead of myself. Landing Ship 7 descended through Earth's atmosphere again. This time, I was wearing one of the exoskeleton suits. It was uncomfortable. The joints chafed, the servo motors whined constantly, and the whole thing smelled like overheated circuits and desperation. But when we landed in a wide open field surrounded by mountains, I was able to stand upright without collapsing. Success. All units, sound off. I ordered through the comm system. Squad 2, operational. Squad 4 ready for action. Squad 6, experiencing minor servo malfunction in left leg assembly but otherwise functional. Good enough. We deployed from the landing ship in formation, weapons ready, scanning for threats. The landscape was beautiful, in a rustic sort of way. Rolling hills, scattered trees, some kind of large furry creatures in the distance that our scanners identified as buffalo. No humans in sight. Perfect. Veli's voice came through the command channel. Secure the perimeter. Establish sensor arrays. We will use this location as our staging ground for planetary conquest. That lasted approximately 20 minutes. The humans arrived in pickup trucks. Actual pickup trucks. 4-wheel drive vehicles that looked like they had been assembled in someone's garage. They pulled up about 50 meters from our position and stopped. Several humans got out. They were wearing what I would later learn were cowboy hats and flannel shirts. One of them was carrying a rifle. An actual physical chemical propellant rifle. Sir, we have contact, I reported. Multiple human civilians approaching our position. They appear to be armed. Armed with what? Sticks? Negative, sir. They have projectile weapons. Rifles. Grell laughed. Projectile weapons? Against our energy shields? Let them shoot. It will be good for morale to demonstrate our superiority. One of the humans, a tall male with a magnificent mustache, raised his hand in greeting.
Howdy there, alien folks.
He called out in what sounded like a friendly tone. Name is Dale. Dale Hutchins. This here is my land you are standing on. Our translator struggled with his accent for a moment before catching up. We are claiming this territory for the Velcrin Dominion, Captain Mira announced through her suit's external speakers. You will vacate the area immediately. Dale scratched his head. Well, now that is a problem, see? Because this land has been in my family for 4 generations. My great-granddaddy homesteaded this place back in 1862. I got the deed and everything, so with all due respect, you alien folks are trespassing. We are an advanced alien species conducting a military operation, Mira replied, her voice taking on an edge. Your property claims are irrelevant. Leave now or face the consequences. Dale looked at his companions. They shrugged. He looked back at us. You know what? I was going to be polite about this. But if you want to pull the whole advanced alien species card, then we got a problem. Tell you what, how about we settle this the old-fashioned way? The old-fashioned way? I asked, confused. Dale grinned. A contest. You pick your best soldier, I will pick one of mine. We have a little competition. Winner gets to decide who stays and who goes. Fair and square. This was absurd. Utterly absurd. We were not here to play games with primitives. But before I could say anything, Rel's voice crackled through the calm. Accept the challenge. Show these humans what Velcrin warriors are capable of. Once we defeat their champion, they will understand the futility of resistance. Sir, I really do not think this is a good idea, I protested. That is why you are a strategist and not a commander, Crix. Accept the challenge. Mira stepped forward. We accept. Name your contest. Dale's grin got wider. Arm wrestling. Arm wrestling. They wanted to have an arm wrestling contest with us, while we were wearing powered exoskeleton suits that enhanced our strength by a factor of 5. This was going to be the easiest victory in military history. Very well, Mira said. I will be our champion. Excellent, Dale said. He turned to his companions. Jenny, you are up. From behind the pickup truck stepped a human female. She was maybe 1.6 meters tall, with blonde hair tied back in a ponytail. She was wearing jeans and a plaid shirt. She looked like she weighed maybe 60 kilograms at most. She smiled and waved. This was going to be a massacre. They set up a small folding table between our positions. Mira approached from our side, her exoskeleton suit whirring with each step. Jenny approached from the human side, walking normally like gravity was just a suggestion. They sat down on opposite sides of the table. Well, Mira sat down. Jenny pulled up a folding chair and got comfortable. You sure about this, honey? Dale asked Jenny. She looks pretty tough. Jenny rolled her shoulders. Dale, I threw hay bales all morning. I am warmed up. This will be fun. They clasped hands. Another human, an older male named Pete, acted as referee. All right, standard rules. Keep your elbow on the table. No lifting your butt off the chair. First person to pin the other person's hand to the table wins. Ready? Go. Mira pushed. She pushed hard. The servos in her suit screamed with exertion. She pushed with all the enhanced strength of her exoskeleton, which should have been more than enough to snap Jenny's arm like a twig. Jenny's arm did not move. Come on now, you gotta push harder than that, Jenny said cheerfully, her arm absolutely rock solid against Mira's assault. Mira pushed harder. The servos were redlining now. Warning lights flashed inside her suit. Still, Jenny's arm did not budge. Not even a centimeter. Sir, something is wrong, Mira gasped over the comm. I cannot move her. My suit is at maximum output. Impossible, Rel shouted. She is a primitive, a single unaugmented biological organism. Your suit has the strength of 5 Velcrin soldiers. Yeah, well, maybe that is your problem right there, Jenny said. And then she pushed back. Mira's arm slammed into the table so hard the wood cracked. The match was over in less than 3 seconds. The humans erupted in cheers. Dale was laughing. Pete was slapping his knee. Jenny stood up and flexed her arm, completely unfazed. Good match. You want to go again? How? Mira whispered, staring at her own hand like it had betrayed her. How is that possible? Farm work. Jenny explained simply. Been working this land since I was 6 years old. Hauling equipment, lifting machinery, wrestling cattle. You build up some muscle doing that. Plus I draw CrossFit 3 times a week. What is CrossFit? Someone asked over the comm. Voluntary torture. I replied, having read about it in one of the cultural files. Humans do it for fun. Dale walked over to our position, his thumbs hooked in his belt loops. So, deal is a deal. You folks need to pack up and move along. Maybe try invading some other planet. One with less gravity. I hear Mars is nice. Why did they keep suggesting Mars? We are not leaving, Mira shouted, standing up from the table. Her suit made an ominous grinding sound. That contest was meaningless. This is a military operation, not a game. Now hold on there, Dale said, his friendly tone evaporating. We had an agreement. You gave your word. Where I come from, your word means something. Where you come from? Mira laughed bitterly. You come from a primitive backwater that has barely discovered space travel. Your opinions on honor mean nothing to us. Dale's expression went cold. Is that right? That is right. You are insects compared to us. Vermin, we will crush you beneath our boots once we establish our base here. Oh no. Oh no no no. I knew that look in Dale's eyes. I had seen it in the eyes of predators back on our homeworld. The look that said you just made a very big mistake. Dale pulled out what looked like a communication device. He pressed a button. Hey, is this the Air Force? Yeah, this is Dale Hutchins over in Wyoming. Remember how you guys told me to call if those aliens came back? Well, they are back, and they are being real rude about it. Uh-huh. Yeah, about 200 of them, I would say. Okay, thanks. He hung up and looked at us. You got about 10 minutes to change your minds and leave peacefully. Or what? Mira challenged. Dale pointed at the sky. Or that. I looked up. At first I saw nothing. Then I heard it. A distant roar getting louder, growing closer. And then I saw them. Aircraft. Dozens of them. Human military jets, screaming through the sky at speeds that should not be possible for atmospheric craft. All units, prepare for combat, Mira ordered. Activate shields. Ready weapons. The jets did not attack immediately. They circled overhead, high enough to be out of range of our weapons but close enough to be clearly visible. A show of force. Then one of them broke formation and dove toward us. It is attacking. Fire at will, Mira screamed. We opened fire with everything we had. Energy bolts lit up the sky. Our plasma cannons roared. We threw enough firepower at that jet to destroy a building. We missed. Every single shot. The jet weaved through our barrage like it was dancing, banking left, rolling right, pulling maneuvers that should have torn it apart from the G-forces alone. The human pilot inside must have been experiencing forces that would turn a Velikrin soldier into paste, and yet the jet kept flying, kept dodging, kept mocking us with its very existence. Then it fired back. Not missiles, not energy weapons, just bullets. Simple, chemical propellant bullets. They tore through our energy shields like they were not even there and shredded 2 of our sensor arrays. The jet pulled up at the last second, missing the ground by mere meters, and rejoined its formation above us. How? Someone whispered over the comm. How did it penetrate our shields? Because shields are designed to stop energy weapons and slow-moving projectiles. I shouted back. Those bullets were traveling at supersonic speeds. Our shields never had a chance. More jets were diving now, attacking in coordinated strikes. Our troops scattered, trying to find cover, but there was nowhere to hide in this open field. The exoskeleton suits were supposed to protect us. They did not. The bullets found every weak point, every joint, every gap in the armor. Soldiers were going down left and right, their suits sparking and smoking. Retreat, I ordered, everyone back to the ship. Now, we ran. Well, we tried to run. The exoskeleton suits were not designed for sprinting. They were heavy, cumbersome, and the servos could only do so much. We lumbered toward landing ship 7 like a group of mechanical tortoises fleeing from wolves. The jets kept coming. They were playing with us now, buzzing low over our heads, breaking the sound barrier right above us, the sonic booms knocking soldiers off their feet. One pilot flew so close I could see him wave at me from the cockpit. Actually wave, like this was all just another day at the office for him. We made it back to the ship with 0 casualties, but only because the humans let us. They could have killed us all. Easily. But they did not. They just wanted us gone. As landing ship 7 lifted off, I looked down at the field below. Dale and his friends were still there, watching us leave. Jenny was eating what looked like a sandwich. Dale tipped his cowboy hat at us in farewell. "This is impossible." Varel ranted over the command channel. "How are these primitives defeating us at every turn? They should not be this capable. They should not be this strong." "Sir, maybe that is the problem," I said quietly. "We keep calling them primitives, but they are not. They are survivors. They evolved on a high-gravity world with extreme weather, dangerous predators, and limited resources. They had to become tough just to exist. We evolved on an easy world, stable climate, low gravity, abundant food. We never had to struggle the way they did." "So what are you saying?" Varel demanded. "I am saying we picked a fight with the wrong species. I am saying we should cut our losses and leave." "Never. The Velcrin Dominion does not retreat. Sir, we have already retreated twice." Silence on the command channel. "Fine," Rilid finally spat. "Fine, we will leave Earth alone. For now. But mark my words, Crix, we will find a way to conquer that planet eventually. We will study them, learn their weaknesses, and return when we are ready." Sure we would, just like we were going to return to Chronos 7 eventually. I had heard this speech before. The fleet jumped to hyperspace. An hour later, Earth shrank behind us, blue and beautiful and completely unconquered. Again, I sat in my quarters aboard the flagship and wrote my after-action report. It was the most honest assessment I had ever written. I detailed every mistake, every miscalculation, every moment of hubris that had led to our defeat. I concluded with a simple recommendation: never go back to Earth. Ever. 3 days later, I received new orders. I was being promoted. Apparently, my honest assessment had impressed the Admiralty. They appreciated a strategist who could admit when a mission was impossible. I was being reassigned to a new division tasked with identifying and cataloging species that were too dangerous to invade. Earth was the first entry in our database. I titled the file Humans, Death World Survivors Do Not Engage. In my report, I listed their capabilities. Adapted to high-gravity environments, extreme physical endurance, advanced technological capabilities despite relatively short development period, and most importantly, absolute refusal to accept defeat. I included footage from both landing attempts, the video of Jenny crushing Mira's exoskeleton, enhanced arm, the jets dancing through our weapons fire, Dale tipping his hat as we fled. I ended the report with a personal note. We are not the apex predators we thought we were. Out there in the galaxy are species that evolved under much harsher conditions than we did. Species that had to fight for survival every single day. Species like the humans, we should be grateful they are not expansionist. If they ever decide to leave their planet and explore the stars, we should make every effort to be their friends rather than their enemies. Because if we make enemies of humanity, we will lose. This is not speculation, this is fact. My report was distributed to every military commander in the Dominion. Some ignored it, some laughed at it, but most took it seriously. Earth was marked as a restricted zone. No Velcrin ships were to approach within 10 light-years without explicit permission from the Admiralty. As for High Commander Vrel, he was reassigned to a desk job processing supply requisitions on a backwater station. Turns out the Admiralty did not appreciate commanders who wasted resources on impossible missions and then blamed everyone but themselves when things went wrong. Me? I am doing fine. My new job is actually quite interesting. We have identified 17 other species similar to humans. Death Worlders. We call them species that evolved on high-gravity, high-danger planets and developed incredible physical and mental capabilities. As a result, we avoid them when possible and approach them with extreme caution when necessary. And you know what the funny thing is? 3 months after our failed invasion, we received a transmission from Earth, from an organization called the United Nations. They wanted to open diplomatic relations. They offered to share technology, establish trade agreements, and work together on mutual defense initiatives. The humans wanted to be friends. After everything we did, all the threatening and posturing and invading, they still wanted to be friends, because that is what humans do apparently. They are tough when they need to be, but they prefer cooperation over conflict. Who knew? We accepted their offer, obviously. The Dominion Council was not stupid enough to reject an alliance with a species that had defeated us twice in less than a week. So now I am part of the delegation that meets with human ambassadors. I have learned so much about them over these past few months. Their history, their culture, their dreams for the future. And every time I meet with them I am reminded of how lucky we are that we did not actually hurt anyone during our botched invasions. Because if we had killed even one human during our attempts, I do not think the Jets and the soldiers would have let us leave. I think they would have shown us exactly what a Death World species is truly capable of when properly motivated. Sometimes late at night I still think about Dale and Jenny and Marcus and Lieutenant Hayes, ordinary humans living ordinary lives on their extraordinary planet. I think about how easily they defeated us, not with superior technology or advanced weapons, but simply by existing in an environment we could not handle. And I am grateful. Grateful that humanity proved to be as compassionate as they were capable. Grateful that they offered us a hand in friendship rather than crushing us beneath their boots. Grateful that I will never have to write another invasion plan for Earth. Because, trust me, once is embarrassing, twice is humiliating, 3 times would have just been suicide. Earth is not just a planet, it is a fortress forged by evolution over billions of years. Its gravity, its weather, its very atmosphere are all defenses that no army could overcome. And its inhabitants, they are the soldiers who stand guard over that fortress, tough and strong and utterly unbeatable on their home ground. The Valkyrian Dominion learned this lesson the hard way. Hopefully other species will learn from our mistakes and approach Earth with the respect it deserves, because the humans are not coming to conquer the galaxy. But if anyone is foolish enough to try conquering them, well, I feel sorry for whoever tries. I really do. Cricks out.